Good afternoon, America. I'm Eric Erickson. Here's the news you need for the rest of the day, always online at ericerickson.com and ewerickson.substack.com. Let's start at the courthouse steps. The Supreme Court today heard arguments with potentially historic implications, arguments that could redefine what it means to be an American. At stake, the 14th Amendment, or more precisely, what the founders intended by the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Now, that line, those 6 words, there have been a lifeline for activists on the left and a legal loophole for illegal immigrants. Because for decades, the United States has granted automatic citizenship to any child born on our soil, regardless of whether the parents are citizens or even here legally. President Donald Trump signed an executive order seeking to end that practice. What Trump argued is that subject to the jurisdiction thereof doesn't just mean being physically present. It means owing allegiance, loyalty, the very thing that makes someone truly American. This week, the court seems skeptical, not just about Donald Trump's order, but about how lower courts have handled the case. See, the problem isn't just the law, it's the lawlessness of activist judges. Nationwide injunctions have become the new tool of choice for progressives. Don't like a Republican policy? Just find one friendly district judge and grind the machinery of government to a halt. It's not justice, it's judicial sabotage. Justice Gorsuch raised the alarm, so did Justice Thomas. Their message, if we're going to have law and order, it must start in the courts. The case isn't just about birthright citizenship. It's about the power of judges, borders, sovereignty, and whether the Constitution still means what it says. Next, we move to Joe Biden's decline. The presidency itself has been cracking under the strain of what Joe Biden left behind. A new book has Washington whispering about what everyone sees and no one wanted to say out loud. Joe Biden was never well during his presidency. Only now they can talk about it. Original Sin, the book is called, a provocative title for a provocative claim that Biden's age covered up his cognitive decline starting in 2019, that Democrats knew the truth and that they pressed on anyway, dragging a frail man through one of the world's most grueling jobs to serve their ambitions. Today is the 1-year anniversary of Joe Biden challenging Donald Trump to that now famous CNN debate. It was the beginning of his end and required 6 jump cuts in the video that at the time the press and Democrats both thought was normal. Now the left-wing press is wringing its hands. Maybe he should have bowed out. Maybe he wasn't up for it. Maybe the voters were misled. Maybe. There's no maybe about it. The man could barely string together a sentence without wandering off course. And this isn't a partisan dig, it's a national security concern. When our enemies in Beijing and Moscow and Tehran see a stumbling president, they don't see empathy, they see opportunity. The American people deserve a leader who's not only principled but present. Joe Biden was a figurehead, unable to be present. The people pulling the strings are on the ballot, and there's no accountability for the press corps that was complicit. And here's the kicker. Democrats and the press didn't just let it happen, they enabled it because they feared Donald Trump more than they feared senility in the Oval Office, more than they feared for the Constitution and the nation's state. Now let's shift gears to a juggernaut that's thriving, Walmart. This week, the retail giant crushed expectations. Revenue's up, e-commerce is soaring, transactions are climbing, Wall Street is cheering, and rightly so. Walmart's success story is uniquely American. A company born in the heartland, serving working families and adapting to a changing world. While tech firms lay off and boutique stores shutter, Walmart is building, but let's not miss the bigger picture. Walmart's surge isn't just about corporate excellence, it's about where American consumers are shopping now and why. With prices rising, people are trading down from higher-end stores like Target, and now they're getting their groceries and goods at Walmart. Middle-class budgets are under siege from inflation, taxes, and stagnant wages. Unfortunately for consumers, Walmart says it's planning to raise prices because of President Trump's tariffs. As conservatives warned, tariffs would be passed on to consumers in the form of higher costs. And that just might affect inflation numbers next month and the Federal Reserve's thinking moving forward. Now to Washington skies, where a near tragedy revealed something terrifying. Last week, an Army Black Hawk helicopter came dangerously close to commercial jetliners near Reagan National Airport after that horrific crash in January. 2 jets had to abort landings. Panic ensued. Lives were at risk. How did it happen? It wasn't pilot error. It wasn't fog or miscalculation. It was silence. The hotline, yeah, an actual hotline between the FAA and the Pentagon, it had been down for 2 years. 2 years. Lloyd Austin and Pete Buttigieg were in charge. In the nation's capital, where the most powerful military on earth coexists with some of the busiest civilian airspace in America, There was not a working phone line between Reagan National and the Pentagon. This wasn't just a technological failure. It was a failure of leadership, oversight, and basic responsibility, and not from the Trump administration. This happened again with Pete Buttigieg and Lloyd Austin in charge inside the Biden administration. And the worst part is nobody noticed. No one was held accountable because in Washington, dysfunction is the default setting. How many other critical systems are unplugged, unfunded, or forgotten by Joe Biden's team that the Trump administration hasn't found yet? It's a reminder that while Democrats obsess over climate scores and pronoun policies, the basics, like keeping airplanes from colliding, went unattended by the Biden administration. Speaking of neglected basics, let's talk about something we all take for granted until it's gone: electricity. The North American Electric Reliability Corporation just issued a sobering warning. This summer, large swaths of the United States are at risk of blackouts. And the reason? Our power grid is stretched thin, overloaded, unprepared, aging fast. Add to that the surging demand from data centers, electric vehicles, and heat waves, and you've got a recipe for rolling outages. But the real issue is this: we've been dismantling our energy base faster than we can rebuild it. Coal plants are retired. Gas plants are politically toxic. Nuclear is still stuck in the regulatory twilight zone. Meanwhile, renewables, wind and solar, are being pushed by bureaucrats and billionaires alike. But these green darlings can't store power, and there's no substitute for baseload power. The sun doesn't shine at night. The wind doesn't blow on command. Yet that hasn't stopped the Biden administration's EPA from tightening the screws on traditional energy. It hasn't stopped climate czars from fantasizing about a net zero utopia. And it certainly hasn't stopped California from banning gas stoves while begging people not to charge their Teslas during peak hours. We need an all-of-the-above energy strategy, one that's reliable, affordable, and rooted in reality, not ideology. That means expanded baseload capacity, coal, nuclear, and natural gas. When the lights go out, all the virtue signaling in the world won't turn them back on. Hopefully, Donald Trump and Lee Zeldin can reform the EPA and the war against common sense that the Democrats led. I'm Eric Erickson. These are the headlines to get you through the rest of the day. I'll be back tomorrow, noon Eastern Time. You can always listen online at ericerickson.com or text the word Eric to 33777. Get the live stream link. It goes 24/7 and always ewerickson.substack.